spring break here, getting ready to start. How do you see the team so far until now?
Yeah.
Is it where you expected?
Yeah, probably a little better than I expected. Today was, it's typical scrimmages. There's good on each side of the ball, and you got to dive in and really analyze it and watch the matchups. But I've been extremely pleased with our ability to be coached, our effort level. We continue to work. I think we're playing at a higher level of strain and finish in our program. I think our guys, the new guys, have fit in extremely well. We throw a fair amount at them, and I think all in all, they've absorbed the information, and yeah. So long way to go yet, long way to go. But I like the makeup of this team.
We're going to talk to the linebackers later. What did you see from them? I know
Yeah,
a lot of new ones in.
Yeah, I really think they showed up, and they're playing downhill at Bengali Kamara is one that consistently shows up. Joe Sip may not always pass the eyeball test with people, but he's very instinctive and physical. Trey Lathan's done a nice job, but in most cases, guys, I think we talked about this in the past too. Sometimes when you bring in guys and you still have guys that are in the early part of their career, guys who've been backups, you see them rise to the occasion well with experience. And I think Jason Gilliam continues to get better, and a guy who's fully transitioned now to a linebacker. Logan Brantley didn't scrimmage today. He's limited in what he can do, but really proud of what Logan's done. He's an extremely athletic linebacker who loves to be physical and can run around and do a lot of things. And then John Kamara is a guy that, he's one of those guys. I think he gets better every day he steps in this building because it's important to him. He studies the game. He's a workout warrior. He does everything that we want. So really like the makeup of that group.
New punter, new kicker in. What have you seen from them?
Yeah, both. We haven't done a ton of punting, and when you're inside, it's kind of hard on those guys for Finn to get a good look. But we'll get a little more of that as we go. Hopefully, this weather stays with us, that we can continue to be outside on a regular basis this spring. Lath is extremely accurate. Everything we thought we were getting and more. Got again a very consistent demeanor about himself, and as we lost guys at those positions, I think we've been able to fill in nicely.
Obviously, it's a little early in kind of practice and stuff, but have you seen development of Zeke Marshall and Cole Ballard this season?
Again, both those guys get more comfortable all the time. You can see again that the game is starting to slow down for them. Their command of the offense, their leadership abilities. Ability to run the ball when we've asked them to, all those things are there, and again they compete well against each other but help each other along the way. As we wait for Jalen's return, I'm very pleased with where we are at that position as far as depth goes, as if needed.
Yeah, and you have a pretty brand new wide receiver group. Has anyone kind of stood out to you, some of the transfers?
Again, I think all of them have been showing flashes that they're going to help this football team. Cam Pickett has been, is a guy that catches your eye, very steady. He did not go today, either did Emmanuel Henderson. Emmanuel, again, has that speed that we've been looking for, and he's going to be able to help us. But Levi Wentz is a guy that's been able to go up and make some plays, and has shown his ability to make contested catches, ability to get open and do things. Excited about him. Doug and Keaton continue to show that they're going to help this football team, and as they've waited patiently for their opportunity as well. So again, what was a question mark right now, I think is really starting to get answered, and the amount of guys that we play will yet to be seen. But I'm pleased with where that's at. Very pleased, in fact. And again, our young guys, the newcomers, Jackson Cook coming in, and Bryson Hayes has shown that he's got the physical makeup and things when he gets more. Those are all bonus practices, as I always say, for those early enrollees. You really see the difference in August, but Tate Nagy has put some nice practices together. Again, height is always, and size is always going to be something people will look at, but he has great natural instincts, can separate from people, and he shows up you know, in many different situations.
Going back to special teams, do you have any guys you're looking at as leading candidates right now in terms of returning kicks or punts?
No, that'll probably be something as we kind of work through the rest of spring and even into fall camp right now. So we've got a lot of guys working out there, so.
And then we talked to Deshaun the other day, just having him back, how valuable is that, not just for the tight end room, but just as a leader?
It was extremely important. Again, his maturity, his demeanor, his really his life experiences. You know, there's a guy that has a good head on his shoulders, married. He's got a lot of things that, all those different things that sometimes can be so valuable to a team in the locker room when sometimes young guys are going through the ups and downs and really sometimes when things are a little more emotional. I think he gives us a steady presence of things that can help relate. And sometimes as coaches, you don't always get a chance to get it soaked in through our eyes versus a fellow player. And it was very important for us when he was injured last year that we were going to work very hard to get him to come back, and awful glad that he did.
To build off that, how did you see Deshaun grow outside of football?
Again,
during that time out?
I think as you're going through, his story is very unique. Obviously, he's gone through a lot, whether it be health-wise versus having to sit out, all those things. I think he's persevered through things very well, and I think it's made him even stronger. It's made him appreciate opportunity, in the new world of college football with the ability with NIL to have revenue and things there. It was very important for him as his plan to get married, that he had a way to provide for his wife and as well for them to take care. And that was very important to him, as he said, is that he has an obligation. And again, a guy like that, I don't know if we were in the old model, if he would have stuck around. He might have just tried to see if he could get an opportunity at the next level and used his degree and got a job. But I don't know how much he shares, but he's a homeowner. He does things. It's a really neat story about how a guy has taken this opportunity and has used it very well.
It feels like the last couple springs we've talked about the offensive line, you integrate new players. The same case this year. What have you kind of seen from that group early on in spring?
Yeah, again, we got a lot of mixing and matching as always going right now. I think it'll be a work in progress a little bit as things kind of go through. Nolan Gorsica had a finger surgery today, and he'll miss the rest of spring. So a guy who's competing for a starting job, and I thought Nolan has continued to show improvement and a guy that can be counted on at the tackle position. He's played guard as well. Jack Tanner is a guy that we're very excited about where he's at. Kobe and Bryce. Bryce is also on competing in track, so limiting a little bit of what he does in 11-on-11 stuff. So Kelvin Clements is a guy that's probably is shown as much progress probably from late last season when he got a little more playing time to where we're at now. We can see the game starting to slow down for him. I like where he's at. Tyler Mercer, James Livingston, those are going to be guys that are going to be able to compete and contribute as well. But we'll see, and as we work through this other 2/3 really of what we're doing, we'll start talking about what pieces we got to maybe move a guy here to there and do some other things that way.
And we haven't seen Tavake at practice yet. Do you think he'll be able to be back at some point in spring?
He did some running today. Now we got to get him in shape a little bit. I don't know. He could be. I don't know if he'll be doing any 11-on-11, but we sure hope we can get him in some drills and get some things on the back half here, because again, he's one that in these situations when you come in, you don't get on the field right away. It's hard to get him in the conversation, and we'll have to find a way to catch him up on reps and opportunities. But we really like his potential and what he's shown athletically for a man his size, and again, we're excited to hopefully as we come back off a break here that he's going to be able to do a little more.
What have you seen from Daniel Highshot so far this
Yeah,
year?
I'm really impressed with Daniel and what he's doing. He's trying to lead more. He's doing things. He's in a great mind space right now, confident and again, you know, sometimes you can see that. I can't even say it a little bit with our younger corners when established veteran players have graduated and moved on, and they truly see that it's their job for the taking, and they get to line up with the first reps and stuff. You see a different side of them. You see a little more confidence and all those things. Been extremely excited for Daniel and pleased with where he's at. I'm pulling for him as much as anybody for a lot of different reasons. Daniel's going to be one of those guys at the end of this season is when you look back and you watch what he went through, and he didn't play our very first year here, and what he went through then in the 22 season and everything else, to see the maturation of the players, why many of us got in coaching for the start, not for a lot of the other reasons that sometimes leak in today, and watching Daniel grow as a person is something that I've been very, very proud of, and I'm proud of him, and looking forward that in some way, fair or not, that he's rewarded for his patience and everything else that he's kind of gone through.
Gildersleeve said one of the things that was impressive about Blake Harold was the fact that he didn't accept that DJ and Tommy were the starters and basically was competing like, I want to be the guy. How has that competition played out so far, and what do you like about that?
Blake Harold's a really good football player, and again, his confidence continues to grow as he's, now he's figured out the position after a couple of years, and even though it's a rotational position, I think Jim Panagos has shown that it's still one that I think guys still take a lot of pride to be the starter when the game starts, and not like, well, I'll get 40 to 50% of the reps through rotation, that there's something to that, and guys take pride in that, and I think Blake that's one of the things is, and he knows that if he plays at a level that Jim's gonna start him, and I think that's important to him, and I love that about Blake, because he goes about it. He's not the most outspoken guy in this program, but he's a great example and well respected.
And then what have you seen from the new coordinators and how that whole process has worked out?
I'm very pleased with both. I like what DK's kind of taken and a standard of what he expects from our defense, and hustle, strain, finish, communication, things that we were okay at, but now we're getting better at, that can pay off for our defense. Again, creating competition, letting them know that it's going to be hard. There's going to be things, but again, as much as everyone talks about offense in college football, and people get excited about explosive offenses and productive offenses, it's still defense that win you championships, and he's setting the mindset for this group to be the best, and I like where it's at. I like the way the guys have worked together in the transition of a new coordinator and new voice. I think he is, I think from his time in the NFL, being a roaming coordinator, if you've been a position coach as well as a coordinator career, is something that takes a little bit of time to get used to and what you want, but I think DK's experience, he has a real good feel for what he wants and how he moves around the rooms during meeting time, as well as the practice field. And then Jim, very pleased with Jim. Eric Terrazas, who's assisting with the quarterbacks, Brian Stolt, who's helping with the tight ends, and those guys as analysts and helping putting stuff together. I think they put in endless hours to try to continue to put the plans together and dissemination of information and making sure we're communicating in a great spot. Matt and Jim work very well together. And again, Jim's ability to communicate with players and a highly positive guy will continue to be a benefit to our offense.
So few spots are set in stone this year or have like presumptive starters compared to in years past. Something Sleeve mentioned is that can create like an atmosphere of competition. How have you seen that borne out so far? How can that benefit?
I think it's been very good. Our guys know that there are positions up for grab. Everybody's working now. you know, the next big question is, once some of those are decided, how do we react if we're not the guy, and how do we have the same competitive work ethic to either continue to compete for the job or accept the role but not be satisfied with it. There is a difference right now in our program compared to a year ago in approach to some things, and it has to do with, you know, probably some of the things you guys have been asking about, the new guys at certain positions, including coaches, and some of that creates a new sense of energy and just a different atmosphere that right now has made our first 6 practices, I think, very productive, and I'm pleased with.
You might have just answered it, but you mentioned that word strain. Where do you see that show up, and where do you think it comes from?
Well, again, like, I don't know what you mean by where do you come from, but again, it's the extra thing of finishing plays, getting around the ball, getting more people there, not letting up, assuming someone's gonna make a play, getting more people there. I think we've been a good finishing team on offense as far as finishing runs and plays, but it's getting more people around the ball, you know, linemen, receivers, blockers around, straining, making sure we had too many balls on the ground today, but we've got to be able to find a way that and I say the strain and the effort, that's even how we take the field. You know, as coaches, sometimes when you watch a team and they're playing hard and they get a lot of people around the ball, it's impressive, and that can be an intimidating thing to opponents, and we want to try to make sure we do that.
Is that where it comes from? I mean, is that the culture, or is it
Yeah,
certain
it's
guys
you
leading
know,
that?
a lot of times, again, you get what you coach, and I think right now our urgency to get on the field, get off the field, get around the ball, try to punch things out, all of it. Everybody talks about it, but it's a matter of, I just think we have a renowned way of what we're expecting in that standard. You know, how it's being graded, when we show it on film, all those things, and when they see it and embrace it, I think good things follow.
Anything else for Coach?